And I felt bad. I just felt bad. And I wish I had someone at that time.
And I said, if you want sympathy, go home to your mother and get it.
The Rock had a wound so many of us share: depression. Over 260 million people worldwide suffer from this disorder. There are even more who are undiagnosed, but still live through despair, apathy, loneliness, and never get help. Statistically, women are nearly twice more likely to have depression than men. Is that really so? Or can it be that men just don't admit they feel depressed? Maybe, just maybe, they are ashamed to talk about it because they feel the pressure of sexist stereotypes? This man proves just that.
I fell into a deep depression. You think life is over.
Even Dwayne The freaking Rock Johnson fell victim to depression, and it tortured him for years because his dad taught him to keep it to himself. But today, Dwayne is open about his inner struggles.
You gotta talk about it, you're not alone.
And his experience can help you right now. Often, depression creeps in on us from a back door. For Johnson, the roots were found in a very complicated relationship with his father. The late wrestling legend Rocky Johnson was a hero to Dwayne. That's where The Rock came from. And it was not only about the name. Rocky treated his son with tough love and raised him to be a strong, silent type of man. Sounds familiar? As a teen, Johnson didn't have siblings to share his feelings with. He could get emotional with his mother, Ada, but she had her own hard stuff to deal with. Like when the boys saw her weeping over a notice saying that they've lost their home. And when Dwayne was 15, he witnessed his own mother trying to end her life under the wheels of a car.
My heart stopped. Horns were blowing and cars were swerving out of the way. And I grabbed her and wrestled her over to the side of the road. She does not remember anything. Thank God, because maybe it's too traumatic to remember.
But he remembered. Yet he also remembered he had to be a real man and keep his pain to himself. So Dwayne buried all the mess inside, something you must never do to yourself. Johnson wanted to escape it all and never look back. He became a college football star and was aiming at the NFL. He thought it would buy him and his family a golden ticket out of all their hardships. But it didn't happen.
My friends around me were making it, and they were becoming millionaires and buying their parents' houses, all the dreams that we all had, and they were living the dreams that we had, and I was not.
It was a hard kick in the gut.
And at 23, you think life is over.
He reached a point where he couldn't do anything or go anywhere. Crying constantly, he fell into a deep depression.
I found that with depression, one of the most important things you could realize is that you're not alone. You're not the first to go through it. You're not gonna be the last to go through it. And oftentimes it happens. You feel like you're alone and you're in your bubble. And I wish I had someone at that time who could just pull me aside and, hey, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. So I wish I knew that.
But he didn't. Johnson swallowed his despair in a lonely silence. The first step out of depression seemed impossible. Yet The Rock stumbled upon a way to do it.
And I remember at that time, the only thing I wanted to do was clean the walls. It was just the only thing I can control.
Dwayne did that simple thing over and over again for a month and a half. And you know what? It cleared his mind. Listen to me. If you feel overwhelmed, do something basic. Something to keep you in the moment. Something that shows you results right away. Get your own kind of walls to clean. It'll give you the comfort and structure that the mental distress took away from you. When Dwayne got there, he set his eyes on wrestling. The calling his father took after his father. Yet Rocky Johnson couldn't let go of the NFL path for his son. He looked at him right there in his misery and said this.
He said, "You are throwing it all away. It is the worst mistake you will ever make."
Hearing that from your hero, it hurts. But you gotta choose a new goal and have faith in it. Johnson felt that that was his way out of depression, and he wanted his father to train him on that way.
And I was hard on him, but he never gave up.
Dwayne Johnson became one of the biggest stars in the history of wrestling, just like his dad. Rocky was so proud of his son, it made him cry. But on the deeper level, there was much more going on.
And I said, look, if you want sympathy, go home to your mother and get it.
Now let's stop here. You don't say something like that to someone battling with depression. And back to Johnson, he started to get it. All those stereotypes like big men don't cry, you have to be tough through it all, you have to play through the pain, they don't work.
Over the years, you realize that A, it's unhealthy, and B, it's just not me. I realize that I need to talk about this, about my issues, my fears, my depression, and it be okay.
See, to get out of depression, you have to embrace your pain.
Yes, it's about being vulnerable and the power of being vulnerable, and something that we shy away from, certainly men.
The man who we know as The Rock took up therapy, and he is not embarrassed about it. He got comfortable with his softer side, and it showed him that the only way to beat loneliness when you're struggling is to share your feelings.
Johnson has chosen to reveal his struggles with depression.
There's a wiring in us and a constitution that oftentimes doesn't let us talk about. You know, we're scared or vulnerable or things like that, you know, and it's kind of like what's been deemed as toxic masculinity. But no, you got to talk about it and you're not alone.
Sharing was the ultimate step out of depression. Johnson let it out and healed his deepest wound, the lack of his father's love.
My dad loved me with the small capacity in which he was capable of.
The Rock proved that vulnerability doesn't make you weak, it actually makes you stronger.
He is the epitome of what a man should be to me. He is perfect, he is amazing, he is a leader, he is basically the Beyonce for boys.
At this very moment, people around the globe are struggling like Dwayne Johnson did. And just like him, you can't find healing in knowing you are not alone.
Just got to remember, hold on to that fundamental quality of faith. Have faith.
Everybody goes through hard times, through their own pain, and anybody can fall into depression. It doesn't care how much money you have, or what status you are, how big your muscles are, or how pretty you are on Instagram. It sees no skin color, no gender, no age. It says nothing about who you are.
Depression doesn't discriminate.
If you feel depressed, don't judge yourself and don't feel ashamed. Instead, be kind to yourself. Do one simple thing a day. If it's washing every dish in the kitchen, go for it. Finding every item in the house its own spot, perfect. Grant yourself this quiet joy of repetitive small wins.
I mean little things, and really truly being in the moment, being present, and how important that is.
Recognize the pain. If you keep running from it, it'll keep chasing you. If you face it and embrace it, it'll leave you in peace to let you move on.
And on the other side of your pain is something good.
And remember, your feelings matter. They don't exist just for you to hold them in. You gotta let them out. So please, please talk about it to someone close to you, to someone you can trust or just feel safe talking to. A family member, a friend, a therapist, a counselor at a hotline.
There is power and in expressing yourself and being vulnerable and sharing your emotions.
Use that power and you'll never walk alone.